Good evening. I'm Dr. Janatha Ramanathan, working as an assistant professor in the Department of English, Sri Ayyappa College for Women, Chungankadai, Kanyakumari District, Tamil Nadu. I'm so thankful to Prasanna K. Kumar of our prestigious and also so beautiful group, the Fertile Brains. Fertile Brains gives us a platform to express ourselves and also to connect with the poet fraternity. And I'm also delighted to be here in this evening with you all in the name of Fertile Brains for the solo poetry recital. I thank each and every one of the Fertile Brains for accepting me as a member of their family. And to speak about my poetic career, I do not know when a poet started just sprouting in me. I think that I had the intention, or I started writing during my college days. But at that time, people around me, maybe my friends and my parents, my siblings, never thought that this is the time for me to write, and they restricted me from writing. So I wrote my poems just like letters that were enveloped in the diaries and that stayed in the cupboards of my room. So when I got completed my studies and then I entered my profession as a teacher first, I used to speak or conduct some meetings, and my friends used to tell me that you use nice words, adjectives, you can write. But I write, I have written, but never had that confidence to publish my poems or show to anyone. So I thought that poetry is a silent whisper for me because always I love poetry. Even in my career as an assistant professor of English, I love to teach poems very much. Of course, a teacher cannot categorize the genres of teaching, but I love poetry, something I am crazy of poetry. So this was underlying in my mind for a long time. I used to write, scribble in small books there. But I think that we should have somebody in our life to just help us or bring us or motivate us to whichever profession or whichever area where we are. And I think that past 3 years back, one night, one of my friends, of course, I can say that he's a brother. He called me and he told me in a very intimate tone, Chechi, you write poems. I know that. Why do you keep it in your diaries? Please send 2 poems to me. Mail me 2 poems tonight because we are producing or we are releasing an anthology for you, my love, on Valentine's Day. I think it is 2 years back. So at that time, I was very much hesitant to come out of my shell. That is that lack of confidence. And he was so stubborn enough or obstinate. He told me that no way you are sending it tonight. So there started, or that day, that night, I sent the poems. And that was the day my poems just went away from my laptop and of course, he appreciated me, and that poem just came in. That was the first one which came in this book, For You, My Love anthology, done by Index Scroll Press, New Delhi. And so I was so much happy that the first two poems that was published in the book that gave me little confidence to sail forward. So then I thought that I was just searching and dusting over my old books and all those things, taking that and finding out the poems, the small poems, the haikus which I wrote, and I have taken all those things. And within that is for 2 3 months, three July. This was in February, and my first book, this bundle of joy, was published in July month of that year, 2 years back. So this bundle of joy is, of course, a bundle of joy for me because this is the debut book published that is written by me. And I have to thank Index Scroll Press because they were so much instrumental in making me a poet. So if I have to thank the people in my life who made me a poet, it's not making those who helped me to come out as a poet. That is, I have to say that proprietor or the Sridhatan sir of Index Scroll Press and the managing editor, Preet Nambiar. These two people were very much instrumental in making Dr. Janatha Kumari as Dr. Janatha Ramanathan. So I was so much happy. Something in me has been coming out. And there the passion started in me to write poems, not only poems, short stories, and also columns. I was continuously writing columns for Index Scroll's website and translation. At present, I am doing a translation or translating Northeast writer Eastern Kiray's A Terrible Matriarchy into Tamil, from English to Tamil. I'm doing that. So I think that I write poetry for my own satisfaction. As I said, poetry is a silent whisper for me. I believe that that also gives me comfort and also relieves my pain or pressure or maybe also pleasure. And here I would like to recite a poem. Poetry. What is poetry for me? I'll recite my poem from the first book. It is my bundle of joy. Poetry for me is the silent whisper. I breathe out poetry as a revelation of the feelings. Shelley's nightingale sits in the dark corridors of my mind and sings to cheer its own solitude. Diaries and notebooks enveloped my pleasure of treasure with pages. What this dulcet heart spoke or even felt. Emotions always take a ride across my steps, steps that urge me to ascend high. Often, or at times, my strength runs down. I glide down progressively. The cacophonies my mind reverberates out, flashes in a fraction of a second in the aura that always holds me to move forward. Poetry has been a refuge for me when my heart strides through mirth or melancholy. The ups and downs, dilemmas and desecration, hurt and humiliation add colors to the scribblings of my heart. Of course, poetry has been holding my hand, leading me through the floating fantasy isles where I could reside and reside, my heart full. So that's what poetry started emerging from the confused, chaotic, happy mind of me. If I say I wrote about everything and I love to write about, the pain of women folk, also the happiness of the women. So the most prominent themes in my poems will be love, pain, nature. I love these themes very much. Maybe there'll be a lot of questions. I write about the pain of women. I write about the pain of the hearts. And is that all autobiographical? I say that some poems are autobiographical. Some pains are from my heart. I do represent the pain and the pleasure from the hearts, not only of me. It may be the representation of lot of Janatha Ramanathan living in the society. From time immemorial, we know that women always occupy the fringes of the society. In that case, I just record the upheavals of those hearts, those who are trying to come from the fringes towards the center. Of course, I have written poems about men who support women, and all the thoughts never exclude women from the family, from the life. And when I started writing, I thought that just like the Prasanna K. Kumar, my dear brother, who just created a platform for all of us to come up. I thought that my students, really gems, they are the gems there. My students, they have this poetic talent. And there are so many budding students in my college. So in collaborating with the ESN publishers, I made my students participate in India Book of Records and World Book of Records. Because this thought has entered into my mind because people like so many, I can say that Prasanna's brother and also Govinda Vishwas's, these people has created a platform for all the poets, not only of India, throughout the world. So we connect every Sunday. That's a feast for our mind. It relaxes us. That's what poetry is. And always, I do believe that writing poetry, or as Wordsworth has said, spontaneous overflow of powerful feeling recollected in tranquility. Of course, these feelings should emerge from the heart, spring from the heart, genuinely. And that representation really that occupies the minds of the readers. So every poet records the voices of their own mind, their own soul. I do believe that. I'm also doing that. The poetry is open to criticism to anyone because they can have their own interpretations. And I do believe that I'm writing something that comes from my mind, and I never claim that I'm a great writer. But the platforms like today's solo poetry recital just acknowledges us and gives us a place or space to open up our heart. That itself is a great achievement or a reward, I feel. And whenever these poems come to my mind, my bundle of joy come to my mind, I feel that all the poems, what I have given in this book, this 24 poems in this book, they are in one way or the other way very dear to me. Because though the collection of these poems, and of course all the other poems, speak about agony, death, happiness, love, nature, but ultimately the book font is hope, vision of hope, in all the poems. And I think that I do not know how far I will be in this, but I love to be here in this garden of poetry, a lifetime. These poems, some of the people, some readers, they have bought my book from Amazon and they have written to me that I am writing something which they liked. So that I think that that is the greatest reward an upcoming poet can get. And I hope that the audience or the readers and the people, friends, my friends like that, all will support me to write more and more poems. And always women's issues, women's problems, that always occupy the most part in my heart. And I love to write that because I believe that this is what some women in the society feel there. For example, the battered soul. There's a poem, Battered Soul. I've written that the battered soul mourns, bereaves, and grieves, waiting for the new vision. That is the reflection of many battered souls in the society. And also when sometimes we fly back to our birth village, or the village where the native village, and we feel that that was the perfect abode I have ever seen. So we have, after our marriage, we have came to this place, a second home, but still we feel that our native village is a perfect abode. And there's a poem, My Perfect Abode, that is a complete dedication to my village, Padmanabhapuram in Kanyakumari district, one of the most beautiful village. I'll read a few lines, not the whole poem, because that poem is 60 lines. I'll read a few lines from that poem. This is actually our village is being your geography marvels us. Lakes and ponds, hills and hillocks, temples and tantrums, fields and yards, palace and temple cars. Festivals adorn you, we adorn ourselves. Each month is a choice for celebration. We celebrate the everlasting bond of togetherness to glorify you, my fairy land. One more line, 4 lines. Clad in attires of grandeur, clinging bangles, music of the anklets, the bindi between the brows, dreamy kajal smeared eyes, jasmine flowers to add grace, damsels in dazzling glow, move forward with much more. Like the fairies of the wonderland, you, my land of enchantment, fills my heart with fancy thoughts. It goes like that. And also, nature always occupies, or it attracts or captures my mind. I'll be spellbound sitting on a brook, at the side of the brook, or when I see a sea, I'll be mesmerized. Even in the rain, I always tell my students that rather than complaining the rain, try to enjoy the rain. Dance in the rain and enjoy it. Actually, there will be a lot of problems then. So, but we have to find out a way to solve the problems, face it, confront it. That's what I say. So, whenever or wherever nature is, I'll be spellbound. My poem, Mesmerizing Sea, that is the sea, mesmerizing sea, I say there, I delve deep, longing to know secrets. You set a thrilling pulse through. Entwined in the soundscapes of the sea and waves, I ponder on the enlightening experiences you ever gave. Me and you narrated anecdotes of amusement, the lives of seamen who churn the history of you, the legendary tales that mark the glory of the the treasures, the never-ending predicaments that abrade the peace of women, the peace and the serenity you could bring to their minds. You sparkle the space with sprinkles of glee for joy of heaven, heaven and bliss of brethren. So when it goes like that, I believe that friendship is also a theme, or friendship also touches my heart. And I have written a poem to you, my Paul, to my friend. There, I just say that the choicest person, chosen with many attributes, God sent gift. For me, you are the confidante of my heart. You could sense my moods. You know why my heart bleeds, or else why it clings on to ecstasy, gathers my mind, shoulders me when I wither, gathers my mind when it wanders. Sweet notes of love tuned from your heart sweeten my forlorn mind. Oh, lovely girl, I owe you much for what you are. You are a soothing soul. You rendered peace and promise to me. So when these kind of poems occupy or just touch my mind, there are other poems which once gathered momentum in my mind. That one is the tribal people. I have written tribal people, some poems on tribal people, and the collection is yet getting ready to be printed. That is bamboo blossoms, poems about completely about the tribal people living in the hills, and also the people those who have just come out from the hills and those who are living in the border of the hills. I have visited them. I have been in. I have during this pandemic. I started reading their books, reading about the tribals, and so got interested. Started doing projects in them. So at that time, when I meet them, when I talk to them, some poems I have just written and others are in. So this is also one of the themes which just get into my mind or which has motivated my mind to write. And also another book is now with Authors Trust New Delhi, Purple Dreams, that's about the ups and downs, happiness and sadness, worries that worry the mind of people. Completely the plus and minus, happiness and the, everything about women. Women empowerment, about mother, about a woman as a sister, woman as a wife, woman as a mother, woman as a teacher, and all those things get into the poems of me. And then to talk about this another poem on Eskimo cuddles that is about, and my poems have been published in various anthologies, even in India and also abroad. So here, when they asked about, and I also welcome people, this call for poems on anthologies because when they give a theme, we will write about that poems. And one poem in they asked me to write about winter, Eskimo cuddles, winter. And so Snow Angels. I have written two poems, three poems there in that anthology. I'll write Snow Angels. Snow is beautiful, wet, fluffy, icy, and pale. Drop afresh, make us alive. You are winter's butterfly, my white angel. You with open arms wait to hold me in pillowy embrace. Nothing is more beautiful than falling snow and freezing cold. Snowshoeing, skiing, and snowboarding becomes the routines of sledding in the snow. The fresh shower of snowflakes calm down our disturbed minds. Love to spend snowy weekends holding your hand tightly, to take a romantic walk on the glimmering blanket of snow, build a snow cave and snow angels, sit inside and feel like a bona fide Eskimo. Love you, snow, for you revive my love, refresh my body, and regenerate my life. This is what I wrote about snow. Um, then to talk about my short story, and also this is actually this is solo poetry recital, and so it's the time given to me is 9 to 9:30, and I have to wind up my talk here. So this is one of the collection. My short stories is published there. So I thank Prasanna and Prasanna brother and also the fertile brains for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to speak about me. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful time.